we're back with Peter Albin from Big Brother and the Holding Company. And I want to get into this with Peter about how the Avalon and the Fillmore ballrooms were such an important kind of meeting place of the rock bands from San Francisco and a lot of the blues and jazz people, especially blues in particular, coming together and playing together on shows, who you got to play on shows with, and just how it kind of gave a big lift to blues music.
Yeah, well, I know that one of the first bands that Chet Helms from the Avalon Ballroom wanted to get was Butterfield.
Right.
And he didn't get them. Bill Graham from Fillmore Auditorium got that act.
Right.
And we got a chance to see them, and it was wonderful. But it seemed like both Graham and Helms tried to book a variety of, I want to say, soul acts, blues acts, right. Some jazz, particularly with the Fillmore, right. Because Graham loved Latin jazz.
Interesting.
And Helms loved Southern old blues stuff.
Right.
You know,
right.
So he would try to get some of those blues artists on the bill with us. And it was easy to get many of the bands from San Francisco to play these local places because they were just across the bay or down the street. Yeah. You know, it was easy. And we got a chance to see some of the most fantastic players, particularly at the Avalon Ballroom. I remember seeing and playing with Bo Diddley.
Right. And that was a double bill for you guys, or did you just go see him?
It was a double bill. The music that Bo Diddley played was fantastic. Right. He was doing stuff on his guitar that was like mysterious. Yeah. You know. And later, Bob Cohen, who was the sound man, he figured out this guy's an electrician. And so we saw Bo Diddley later at Bob Cohen's studio, messing around with all sorts of different electrical equipment and stuff. That's right. You know?
He built his own guitar.
Yeah, he built his own guitar. So anyway, he had two female singers, but one of them played a violin.
Right.
It was gorgeous, and they had one dressing room that we all used. So there was not only us, but another band plus Bo Diddley. And we would just usually, I mean, there was like a big sofa. Everybody just threw their clothes on the sofa. And on top of the clothes were the babies. There was only a couple of kids in there. So Bo Diddley says, this woman needs to get a dressing room. You guys don't have any dressing rooms here. But this is it. You guys got to get out. So all of us in the dressing room, we leave, you know, and then he locks the door behind him with the girl playing violin, so that she can dress.
But he got to see her dress.
I think so. He didn't leave the room. He was in there with her. Anyway.
Bo Diddley was a smarter man than we give him credit for.
And we kind of like, you know, palled around with some of the guys in the band. So when they worked at the Fillmore, we were also on the bill. We were upstairs in the balcony, and they give me a cigarette. He said, hey, you smoke cigarettes, don't you? And I said, sure, yeah, I'll take it, you know. So I lit up the cigarette, and it had a load in it. And it just blew up in my face. You know, and these guys are going, hey, we got the hippie. And it pissed me off. But I didn't hit anybody. But, you know, I just, peace and love. I said, fuck you guys. You know? Walk into another dressing room. So it was kind of funny. Yeah. There was like kind of a difference.
Cultural exchange.
Cultural exchange. It really kind of different kind of thing going on. And when we played the Fillmore with Howlin' Wolf, you know, this was without Janice. We were playing a benefit at the Fillmore, and there's an upstairs area that you can. There's a back room where you can get sodas and whatever, and then there's like an area that there's some boxes, like balcony kind of seats, and then there's the dressing room. So he's walking down this way to the dressing room, and I'm just a 21-year-old geeky kind of guy, and I say, and I'm trying to play harmonica, sometimes with the band even, you know, but I play most of bass. So I say, Mr. Wolf, how do you play harmonica like you do? You know, and he said, that's for me to know and you to learn. And he walked by me.
Yeah.
And he never taught me anything.
Yeah.
But you had to listen to him.
Most of the old guys wouldn't do that. They wouldn't show anybody anything.
No.
And that's still true to this day.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah. I love your Jimmy Reed story too. Tell me.
The Jimmy Reed story we weren't working at the Fillmore, but we went to see the show. And I can't remember who was on the bill. I think it might have been Otis Redding.
Okay.
But Jimmy Reed was on the bill. And so these two big guys, one either side of Jimmy Reed, just holding him up by his armpits, and then they drag him out to the microphone, and he goes, "You got to be hiding, you got to be peeping, you got to be," and then he drag him off. And that was his show.
Sounds just like the Percy Mayfield show I did.
Oh yeah, right. You told me that. Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah. Well, Jimmy liked to drink. Hi, I'm Mark Hummel. I hope you're enjoying the Harmonica Party and the other content that we post on our channel. Now you can become part of the show for the price of a cheap cup of coffee. For $3 a month, you can help bring the blues and the stories to you. Check out our Patreon page and join us for exclusive content, early releases of episodes, and some rewards specifically for our Patreon friends. Thanks for helping us keep the blues alive. So where were we? We were talking about Muddy Waters at the Jazz Workshop. You said you saw him when you were 17.
17 or 18 years old. Yeah,
story,
got a chance to sneak in and not get carded and watch this great show. It was with James Cotton.
James Cotton and Otis Spann on piano.
Otis Spann on piano, and then Muddy doing his thing. It was really, kind of eye-opening. But we had heard a lot of their records.
Right.
I think that they Live at Newport might have already come out.
That would have been out because that was I want to say that was 1960.
Yeah, and we mentioned I think seeing Sonny Terry, Barney McGee,
Sonny and Brownie. Yeah.
Well, the later Big Brother, I want to say in '69,
right,
after Janice left,
right,
and Sam went with Janice, and James went into vacation mode. David Nelson and David Torbert basically joined our group.
Oh, okay, and is that when Nick Gravenitis came in?
Not yet, not that time. He came in a little bit later. So we got a call from the Matrix saying, "Can you come down and back this guy Albert Collins?"
Wow.
So he said, "Well, we don't know his music too much. Hey, it's just the blues. You guys can fake it, And at that point, I was playing guitar. I wasn't playing bass. David Torbert is a bass player, and he's a very good bass player, much better than me at the time. So we kind of backed him up fairly well, I thought, And then all of a sudden, all these other musicians found out about it and started coming in and wanting to jam, including Carlos Santana, David LaFlame on violin, and a bunch of other people. So we got kind of pushed in the background. We're just the rhythm section. Yes, but he was fun. Iceman.
Great.
We played on the same bill with Howlin' Wolf.
Right.
But after Janice left, I think it was.
Okay.
And it was someplace out in Iowa, whatever. But the Avalon and the Fillmore really got us to meet these people.
Right.
And be in the same dressing rooms or dressing room, as it was with the Avalon, one room. And we got a chance to get friendly with some of these folks and see them sometimes in different locations, like the Matrix, but also when we were on the road.
Right. So you'd meet them there, and then you'd run into them on the road somewhere. Yeah. And I know that Bloomfield apparently had a lot to do with Bill Graham booking blues in that.
I think so.
That he kind of gave him this short list of this is who you need to book. You need to book Buddy and Junior, Otis Rush, Muddy Waters.
He might have had the contact information too.
And I'm sure he did. B.B. King. I mean, there's a great story about B.B. the first time he played the Fillmore, because he had played it many times when it was a black-owned nightclub. And he pulls up in his bus and he sees all these hippies lined up to get in, and he's like, "I don't think we should go in there. I think we got the wrong gig." And he goes in, and it's like all of a sudden he's playing for all these hippies. And he's like, they're loving what he does, and apparently he cried. They said he cried at the end of his set because he was so well received.
Yeah. Well, later on, when Big Brother became fairly well known, in the East Coast, we played a club called the Generation Club. And it had something to do a little bit with Bill Graham. So we played, I think it was five nights, or maybe even 6 nights. We were top of the bill, and who opened for us? B.B. King,
Yeah.
and we got to know him pretty well, and his set too. We played generally the same kind of set.
Yeah,
and we did too. But
right.
we would talk sometimes, and so I think it was a Wednesday night. He was always early. And this night he was late. Why is B.B. King late, you know?
Right.
Oh, someone said, didn't you hear that Martin Luther King was assassinated?
Whoa.
And I said, oh my God, that's probably why he's late.
Yeah.
So he came in, but we didn't play until, I mean, he had to open the act, do the show.
Right.
And he started opening the act the same way he did the nights before. You know, with the same pattern, and introduced the band and stuff. And then later he said, by the way, you probably know that Martin Luther King was assassinated tonight, so I'm sorry. I can't do the same show that I usually do, so
Wow.
please just bear with me. And he started doing gospel songs.
How amazing.
And just the whole crowd just like shivered, you know,
Oh,
and
man.
tears and stuff.
That's heavy duty, man.
It was heavy.
Yeah.
It was
And he
heavy.
was such a great he was such a great singer.
Yeah.
I mean, his gospel stuff was as easily as great as his blues
I guess
stuff.
so.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
because it was fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's heavy duty, man.
and then
Wow.
that night afterwards, he didn't drink very much.
Right.
But afterwards, after the show ended, it was kind of a jam session. Jimi Hendrix was there,
Wow.
Todd Rundgren was there, and he started drinking.
Yeah.
And out in the audience was Jimi Hendrix with his little reel-to-reel tape recorder.
Uh-huh.
And he's recording this jam session that B.B. King sitting on his amplifier,
Yeah.
with Todd Rundgren playing guitar, and I'm playing bass, and there's a couple other guys playing, someone playing, you know. It just went on. And
Yeah.
But it was like one of those things that doesn't happen very often.
That's wild, man.
Yeah.
That is something.
So on Saturday night, we find out that the Imhoff guy wants to do an open house kind of thing on Sunday. And we said, no, that's the day of mourning, because that was
Same weekend.
the president had said, you know, it's the day of mourning.
Right.
So we go into B.B. King's little space there, dressing room, and start talking to him about it. And he says, no, we have to play that. And I said, well, it's a day of mourning. We should respect. No. He said, what King was doing was what is happening here. I'm down in Manhattan, South Manhattan, not in Harlem. I'm with you white folks,
Right.
and we got to go on.
Wow.
You know. And then he went on stage and did gospel music again.
That's beautiful.
And it just went,
Yeah.
wow.
That's a heavy story, man.
And then we played on Sunday.
Yeah.
And he did some gospel stuff, but
Yeah.
you know, Joni, what's her name?
Joni Mitchell?
Joni Mitchell came in, and she started singing, you know, a couple of her songs, and then a verse, and then she said, forget that song. Let me try another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just got too heavy. And she had to leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
so it was one of the heaviest experiences I ever had.
That is, man. How about Big Mama? She's somebody else
nice.
that
Yes.
is so. I mean, you know,
So
I found
important to
out.
us.
Yeah, I mean, I found out about her through you guys doing Ball&Chain.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known who
Really?
she was
Wow.
till I heard that.
Well, we had heard her, you know, she did
Right.
Hound Dog and whatever, and
Right.
a bunch of her records we knew about her. And she was playing at a club called the Both And. It's a jazz club. And she did this song, you know, Ball&Chain. And it was, it's not in a minor key. It's kind of like a more standard kind of blues.
Just standard
you know.
blues.
Yeah.
Right.
But we really liked it, and I was with Janice, and James Gurley was with us. And so we went backstage, and after she finished her first set, and said, you know, we would like to do this song. Is it a possibility, you know, that you could write down the words for us? Would you mind? I mean, we'd like to record it, you know. And, you know, she said, well, who are you guys? And I said, well, we're just a band that
just
plays the
hippies."
Avalon, the Fillmore, and you know, and we're doing some recordings and
Right.
stuff like that. And
Right.
she said, okay, I'm going to write it down for you, but don't fuck it up. You know, and I think she went like this.
That's
you know,
great, man.
And I
That's
said, okay,
great,
all right.
yeah.
And she's heavy duty.
Okay, Miss Mama.
Okay, Miss Mama. And we played with her a couple other times.
Yeah.
And she'd go out to her car after her set, you know, and she'd open up her trunk of her car, and she'd just sit there with the bottle, you know, drink a little bit,
she
you
could
know.
drink.
But she noticed that Janice was drinking a lot, you know,
Interesting.
and she came into the dressing room and said, you know, you ought to watch yourself.
Wow. That's heavy.
Yeah.
That is heavy.
She says, you know, it does something to you,
Yeah.
you know.
That's something.
So.
Wow.
And then later, we played the song and recorded it, and it helped you know,
on
sell
Cheap
Thrills,
Thrills, right?
you know.
Yeah.
So the record did quite well. It went to #1 for a while.
Right.
We found out later that from one of her managers, a later manager, Jerry somebody, I can't remember his name, and he said, you know, you guys doing that song on that record, the royalty from that song bought her a brand new Cadillac.
That's awesome. Yeah,
so,
that's great.
yeah.
Because a lot of blues people never got paid.
Yeah, that's
a lot
true.
Of blues people never got
We
paid.
made sure that they
That's
went to
awesome.
her, you know.
Yeah. So this brings me to the big question, and that is how you guys ended up on Monterey. And from what I understood, you played 2 sets at Monterey. Was it true that one set was not recorded or something?
Right. Well, I think it was, but the cameras were supposedly turned down.
Right.
What happened was that we were going on stage on our Saturday
And this is the Monterey
show,
Pop
Monterey
Festival.
Pop Festival, and it was a Saturday.
Right.
And we were on the bill with the Quicksilvers and
Right.
and Steve Miller and a bunch of other people, the Country Joe.
Country Joe.
So it was the Avalon, Fillmore, white bands coming down south to Monterey to play, but on a Saturday, you know.
Right.
Although the Jefferson Airplane did play at night, and the Grateful Dead also played at night show.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going up the stairs in the back to go to the stage, and someone's got a clipboard and saying, you have to sign here for a release. And he said, what's that for? Well, for the movie. I said, what movie?
Right.
What are you talking about?
Unbelievable. Yeah.
You can't do this. We have to take a look at this stuff. You know, our manager said, please, you know, you can't do this.
Yeah, you don't
put
do
the
it
cameras
as
down.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Put the cameras down. I don't want to see any cameras pointed to the stage.
Right.
So we did our set, and then we got a lot of praise, and you know, it was really a good set for us.
Yeah.
And they said, you got to go on again, and you got to be filmed this time. And we kept saying, okay, wait a minute. And then Janice got the word from, got the ear, her ear got, you know, pulled by Grossman.
Okay, so Grossman was there. Okay, he was your manager at that point.
No, he wasn't.
Oh, he wasn't?
Julius Carpenter was our manager at the
Okay,
time. And,
all right.
and along with the other managers of the other bands, they said, no, you can't pull this,
Well, I know.
this L.A. kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
it was
you know,
L.A.,
this.
and that was the funny thing. Monterey was really put together by
L.A. guys.
By L.A.
you know,
guys,
Lou Adler
Yeah.
and
Lou Adler,
So
yeah.
we said, no, but anyway, Janice said, guys, we got to
John
do
Phillips.
this. You know, we have to do this, she said. So they planned for us to go on Sunday evening, and that was like the big show. The Mamas and Papas were going to close the whole festival that night. And it was after Ravi Shankar and his group, you know. So it was like early in Sunday evening, and they let us do 2 songs, I think it was.
Really? That's all you did that was filmed?
Yeah, I think it was
Ball&Chain?
Ball&Chain and Roadblock, I think it was.
I don't even know that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's the story.
Yeah,
and
and
then
in a lot of ways, I mean, it seems like that was really the breakout moment for you guys, wasn't it? Between that and the Cheap Thrills record?
well, that was the time when the focus became more on Janice.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, it seemed like you guys kind of exploded at that
well,
point,
we
though.
started working a lot
That's
more.
what I'm saying.
But all the press and stuff was on Janice, not on the
okay.
band. You know, the band was just these hippie guys. You know.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, in the movie, they clip out, they edit out James's solo
Really?
on that song, and he played a good
Whoa.
solo on that song.
I never realized.
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, they shortened everything.
Wow.
Hendrix was wandering around the festival grounds and would pick up a guitar and start playing it. Tiny Tim was there and did the same kind of thing. There was another stage that was outside of the main auditorium, the main outside stage, and David Getz even played with Hendrix.
Interesting.
And that story I tell you about Hendrix, this is this is after the festival. He played at the Fillmore, and
That night?
the weekend after.
Oh,
that.
the weekend after that.
Yeah, and supposedly, well, he was going to be like second on the bill to the Jefferson Airplane, and the Jefferson Airplane had some gig they had to do down in Los Angeles. It came up or whatever on a Thursday night, so they hired us to be an opening act, and Hendrix was going to be the closing act.
Right.
So Hendrix comes into the room on Thursday. He said, "Well, where's the beer?" "Jimmy, they don't have beer here. This is for kids." Basically, young people. They don't have a liquor license here. He said, "Well, every gig I play, man, they have beer for me and the band. Come on, where's the beer?" I said, "Well, we'll go down to the Safeway store and we'll get some beer." So I take Jimmy out, and he's got this epaulets on and this funny clothes, and this thing on his head and hair up to here.
Yeah.
And so we walk down to the Safeway store, and all the regulars at the Safeway store, the regular people who live in the Fillmore, going, "Who the fuck is this guy? What the hell?" And he
Looks like he just landed from Mars.
Mars, and he's got the six-pack, or
Right.
a couple of
Right.
six-packs, and buys it and goes out and comes back and drinks his beer, But it was so odd, It's like Jimi Hendrix in space, or from
That's
space.
wild. Yeah, there's a famous picture of him and Janis at the Fillmore.
Yeah,
Is that same night?
I think it might have been. Yeah.
Well, what I don't get is how did he end up with a nighttime slot? Because nobody knew who he was.
Well, they kind of knew who he was
Did
from
they?
the week before, but he wasn't as popular as the Jefferson Airplane, that's for sure.
No. I'm talking about how did he end up with a nighttime slot at Monterey, though?
Before we went on,
Yeah.
it was Hendrix
Right.
and his group arguing with the Who should go on before.
That's what I always
before,
heard. Yeah, I always heard that story.
Yeah. So I don't know if a coin was flipped or something like
he
that.
He basically did a.
Yeah,
I'll
he
top this.
said no. He said, "You guys are the top act. You have to go on after." And they said, "We're not going on after you.
Oh,
we know you."
Okay, so they already were hip to him.
Oh yeah, because of England.
And that's how
that's
come-
where he was played.
That's how come basically when he did his show, he was like, okay, if you're going to make me do
Do
that,
this. I'll do
you're gonna
this.
pay
I'll
for
light
it."
my guitar on fire and do
Right.
everything.
Right.
Funny. But I think if you watched carefully in the movie, someone slips him a different guitar.
Ah, okay,
I
that
believe.
would make sense.
I could be
believe
wrong,
that.
but
I believe that.
you know.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
he
But
says
he
this-
normally never did anything like that.
No, that was
just
like the
'cause of
first time
Who,
or something.
Because the Who did that every time they'd play.
Oh yeah, they were
was their
kicking
whole
over
thing
the
was
drums and the smoke
destroying
bomb and the
everything. Right,
fireworks and stuff.
So he basically just kind of copped what they did.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
But he also, humped the
He
amplifier.
humped the amplifier, and yeah.
That's funny. But
That's great.
He was a great guy.
Yeah.